Everyone. It's BDevine. I'm just a tiny little bit early, I think. Just getting myself organized. Hopefully you guys are happy and well where you are. Thanks for tuning in again. It may just be my husband that's tuned in. But welcome. Again, never know exactly what's going to happen. But today I might be doing some cards for us. So we'll just see. Let me know if you can hear me. I have my microphone plugged in. See if that's good. Okay, awesome. Thank you, husband. I love you. Oh gosh, my thing doesn't work. Hey Ruth, welcome. Thanks for coming in. Sorry, I'm just a little bit quick doing this today. We've had to be out all day, so I got a quick coffee and came in here to do this. Welcome to day 2 of 12 days of BDevine. Hey Vicky, welcome. All right, so, okay. Wayne, you will really need to watch, you really do need to watch day 1. Welcome. And so yesterday we did a lot of work on energy plays, and I was wondering if you guys had a chance to think about that overnight. Hey JR, welcome. So I think sometimes there's good times of the day, obviously, and there's times when nobody's around. So hopefully I'll get it where everyone's around today. I'm just going to chill a little bit and just wait for you guys to come in. Day 1 was outstanding. It was. When you... Yay, I made it. Hey, Candy. Welcome. When you know, like, with all this spiritual work, I want to try to teach you guys, as you know by now, you know, the best way to start to really look after yourself. And the clearing. Hey G, sorry to throw it on you guys so quick. If you can't make it at some time, I totally get it. But I know you love to tune in anyway. Oh, great, Candy. Well, let's hope this time, right? Oh my gosh. Okay. So... All right, so welcome. Hey, Betsy, thank you so much for coming in. Let me just turn this light off a little bit. Yeah, my husband made sure it was like, no one's going to mess with that package. Okay, no worries, G. I mean, I like helping you get out of work and everything, but I get it. I'm just going to turn that light off. I don't need it. Oh, great. Awesome, Candy. Okay. See, I don't need any lights. It's just like, there it is. All right, guys. So welcome in today. We will do a little bit of extra work. Okay. So I'm just getting my stuff together here while everybody's coming in. Okay. All right. Hey, Desiree, welcome. No worries. Okay. All right, everyone. So welcome in. Thank you for taking the time to be with me on day number 2. JR's waving to everyone. Welcome. And hopefully you're going to enjoy whatever comes up today. We're working with Hi Canary. Thank you. You know, we're working with different angels for the month, of course. Working with our different energies after yesterday. And I just wondered if anybody sort of did the clearing yesterday, if you're feeling anything today, because, hey, James is here. Welcome. Awesome. So if anyone did the clearing yesterday, maybe not today, Wayne, unless you want to. I may just be pulling some cards and things today for everybody. But yesterday, out of nowhere, we all got a webinar pretty much going on. There usually is a lot of information that will come through anyway. So if you did the clearing yesterday and, you know, some of the things resonated with you, let me know how that was for you as well. You feel better. Oh, great. And even though that was just a little bit, yeah, gee, there's a whole lot in there. Even though that was just a little bit, we set that intention. Okay. There will be, let me just tell you about the clearing and the stuff that we did yesterday. It takes a little while for you to understand the differences. They'll start to integrate with you over time. When you first do it, your eyes may feel more open and awake. You know, you may feel just more in tune and more grounded. There may be certain sections of your body that you felt, you know, energy. It sort of like feels like when energy's leaving, it feels like you've had your hand's been asleep or something, and then it starts to wake up. So you get like the tingles, sort of pressure release leaving your body when you have it. And of course, everybody needs something that's specifically set up for you. But I did that one with the intention that it was going to help to clear that energy, whatever it was for you. So just watch over the next couple of weeks. For example, your eyesight might get better. Your feet may stop hurting. Your back may just stop hurting as well. Your stomach and digestive system may go through a lot of changes. And for me, I always run from the nose and stuff. So I've been a bit sniffly, etc. today. It's always a clearing sign for me. Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Yeah, that veteran. Yeah, I always, yeah, you always do that. You always thank people for their service. And I always know that it's affecting you as well. But it's a good thing to do because they don't get enough thanks. As far as I'm concerned, the veterans definitely don't get enough thanks. What have I got all over my... Oh, it's ash from the incense here. All over my table. Okay, so yeah, veterans don't get enough as far as I'm concerned. And after everything that they sacrifice as well. Then felt amazing. Great. Yeah. So just be aware whenever you're clearing anything, there are flu-like symptoms. Lethargic, you know, you'll feel tired. Wayne, if I were you, I would just start by listening to yesterday's lecture. It went for a couple of hours and I time-stamped when it started because there's going to be so many things in there if you haven't listened to it that you'll go, oh my God, that's what's happening to me. That's what's been happening to me, and it's not even your fault, you know. And a lot of people are misdiagnosed, you know, as crazy, as cuckoo, just because they have energy plays going on. So I'm really glad that some of you got a lot out of that yesterday. And I never know, there's usually something that's going to tune in, even when I'm just doing cards or something like that. There'll be something that we can, you know, connect with. Did you guys just see that? There's a glow on my hands. Yeah. Yeah, we listened to it last night as well, and I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it was pretty amazing. So I'm really glad you guys were here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a really different one on the energy plays and hexes, curses, spells, energy bands, the stuff that can be connected to your aura, everything. I didn't mean to go through all of it, but I pretty much did. And it's going to end up being a much larger more specified course, especially for people who are wanting to do house clearings or help people as well. Oh, that's a really good idea, Vicky. Ground yourself back down again. Yeah, because you can feel like you've lost so much. You also, whenever you do a clearing on yourself, it may feel like something's missing for a couple of days because you're so used to that negative energy being like on you. You know, that when it's gone, you're just like, there's something missing. What is it? You may even get a little bit forgetful as well. So just go with this flow, especially over the next 2 weeks. Don't think that it's gone, because there'll be something else that comes and you clear out again. You have to give yourself that little bit of time. Okay, so let me see today. So we have the angel Asmodel. We have the angel Asmodel and Mashadiel looking after us. Yeah, something's missing. I think it's the little squirrel. We have one squirrel that's super skinny. I wonder if you guys can see him if I turn this around. See on the back fence there, you can see his little head. There, he's really skinny, that little guy. But he always comes whenever I'm talking, which is super cute. Oh, that's definitely a boy. Oh boy. Wayne, just have to go and look. I think maybe you need to start at day 1. Oh my Lord. So okay, so yeah, the angels of April going into May, Asmodel and Mashadiel, working on our strengths, our courage, our fortitude, moving ahead. Asmodel working on balancing the energies. Hey, Kathy. Welcome. And yeah, I was going to read to you a little bit from my book on a couple of things as well. So I'm just having a look here. Mashadiel, let me just see. Okay, so hi Kathy. Welcome to people who haven't been here for a while. And this is day 2 live. And I never know, as I said to you guys before, I'm not really planning anything on these days. So I felt like I might do some Kipper cards or some tea leaf cards, or maybe some Lenormand, you know, all mixed in kind of thing, and see what comes up. But I also want to start with some messages from the angels, of course, from my angelic guidance book. Sadly, all of my things are still not here, you know, from overseas, and you can buy the angelic guidance book at my old website, Divine Miracles, and on the catalog there. But also you can buy it, you can just buy it on Amazon or eBay even, I think. So yeah, but I should have a lot of my stuff here. Let's hope it's soon, because I still have a whole lot of Auralite jewelry to be making up as well. All right, so I'm just going to read these affirmations. Okay, so we'll just start with these affirmations, and this is something that you can say daily to help keep your connection really strong, especially when you're working with the angels as well. Oops. Oh, sorry guys, it's a little bit much. All right. So these daily affirmations are a way to keep your channel really, really strong as well. So post some of these around so you're reminded daily of the angels in your life. I easily connect with the angelic realm. My prayers are always heard and answered. And remember, they're not always answered exactly how we want them to be. That's why when we do ask, we ask without limitation, not putting any kind of limits on what we can and can't have. I easily hear and feel my angels guiding me. When I need help, I shall call my angels without delay. I receive valuable guidance daily. I invite my household angel to protect this home and inhabitants. My children are now safe and protected from all types of harm. See, that's a good one. Instead of worrying about your children, give the angels the job. Let them take care of your children. State out loud what you want to have happen. They are safe. They are protected, right? Okay. I just want to get rid of that. Okay. I receive a valuable guidance every day. I invite my household angel to protect this home and inhabitants. My children are now safe and protected from all types of harm. My animals have angels with them, and I thank them for their presence. So a lot of people, when you've got an animal missing or you're looking, you don't know where they are, whatever's going on, they might have got out of the yard or something. The angel Hariel is the angel that you can connect with for domestic animals, also Ariel, but Hariel with a H is specific to your own domestic pets. Also, if it's cats, you might talk to Bastet, and dogs. You can it doesn't really matter. Anubis would help with dogs as well. So Hariel's the angel though. My soulmate angels will guide me to my perfect partner, and they are guided to me now. So when you're ready for the right person in your life, just declare it. Okay, my soulmate angels are, bringing this into my life right now. My car angel will help me when I have car troubles. Right? I'm safe and protected and peaceful. I share my knowledge with others. And the perfect home will be provided for me now. The angels of abundance shall lift my financial position to greater heights. I shall share my bounty with others who need this. I always follow and trust my angels' guidance. When I have computer problems, my technology angel will guide me. Now, one of the technology angels is Lumiel. Lumiel's really good. Metatron's really good at helping as well. And also an organite pendant is helpful. These big chunkers are at my website now. They are 2 inches big. Now, there's only one other that kind of looks like the chakra one. But the others are beautiful as well, all different colors. So maybe if you need an organite just to hang, also you can just hang them where there's a lot of electricity, so you're not absorbing it as well. I notice and appreciate heavenly signs, and in sad moments I call on my angels to comfort me. So trust is the key, of course, as you are going about your journey. So let me just see. I have another angel message here that I kind of wanted to do. All right. So since we were talking, hey, Kate Cat, since we were talking yesterday a little bit about healing and going through the healing process, and we were talking about these different levels in our auric field, which, believe me, is super intense once we start getting into that as well. So I brushed over a lot of these areas yesterday just so I could get a lot of information out. Inside the layers of your aura, which there are at least 7. So we're going to be just focusing on 7. Inside those layers can be attached to different types of emotions and experiences as well. And one thing that I wrote in my book was talking about healing from addictions, healing from negativity, emotional healing as well. So I'm just going to read a couple of these paragraphs for you guys today. We will pull some cards and things as well later on. But I kind of wanted to, since we were talking about all this stuff yesterday, it's in my mind to bring it up again. So in this book, my own book, Angelic Guidance, it talks about, I did a lot of channeling in this book. So I was channeling and asking questions of the angels. Ruth, yes, I will. The problem that we have is that it takes about 3 weeks or so for stock to come from where we've been getting it from, which are beautiful quality. And we found some other places and stuff that we weren't really happy with. So with regards to the pendants, and we did just sell out of all of our different pendants. We have some other heart ones that are coming. And so it takes that little bit of a while, but we'll get them in, okay? Otherwise, you're just going to get ones that break all the time, and that's what we noticed as well. So healing from addictions and negativity, and the question was to the archangels. I apologize, I'm just going to turn this off for a second. I won't be able to see your chat right now. Okay. The question to the angels was, and it seems so bright, how do people heal themselves from their addictions in whatever form and negativity? So what I asked the question of the angel, what is the process, and can anyone truly be healed, right? And this is the channeled answer. So we'll talk about this after I finish reading it to you, okay? Answer is, dear children, of course it's not a simple, easy process, because your mind is still going to hang on to the problem and think on it. And you may want to stop yourself, but then you say to yourself, one last time, just one more time. And so the act of asking for healing and forgiveness has felt like it didn't work at all, right? If you truly want to be free of your self-imposed prison, it's a good idea to imagine your problems, every single one of them, in your hands, and then you're passing this over to the angels to deal with for you. So this is, once you learn, you start to delegate the energy. You start to delegate your energy, which allows you to receive help, because otherwise you're too stubborn to receive help because you want to fix it yourself. That's part of the issue of addictions, is that you feel like you're on top of everything, or even negativity can make you feel that way. So the willingness to separate yourself from the problems will be the relief, okay, in itself. So some of you think that handing over your problems is ridiculous. Problems that you have in your life have been caused by constant thinking. So why would it be healed by additional thinking? You're not going to think it away from your life. So this is why your imagination is so important, because your mind is connected to God, and what you see as an angel is real to you. So imagine the most beautiful angel you can think of, or one that you can relate to, and this will become your guardian of thought. This is who you ask to take your problems and deal with them for you. This process is repeated over and over each time you feel the crisis take over you, and comfort you along the way. Doors will open, and you will find that there are many life areas that we can be of help with if you need it. So the angel's working with you, right? So even if you have had bad thoughts, or feel like you've always had bad luck, if you felt used, abused, if you get angry easily, if you find like your mind just clicks and you can't control yourself anymore, okay, I'll talk about that in a minute. If you're addicted to sexual fantasies, or gambling, or drinking, or smoking, or drugs, or have hurt animals, have cast spells, have felt like a terrible mother or father or partner or child, all this and every other emotion that you have that is negative can be given to the angels to deal with without any judgment about it. Okay, the angels don't have judgment, people do. The process of release comes with it a great deal of faith. But you must ethically cut the cords that continually tie you to these things, each thought back to it, to another attachment. So, when you're cutting these cords ethically, you've got to make sure that you're not reattaching yourself back to that person, which is what we were talking about yesterday. Dissolve those cords. Ask for them to be dissolved, because that's going to be far better for you than just cutting them and you've got all this stuff here waiting for more things to connect to or people to connect to. Okay, so if you truly are ready to let go of unnecessary thought patterns that are restricting you and aging you and slowly killing your spirit, then allow the angels to help you. Step by step, we shall light the way, lead you to books, people, or places that will help you to feel strong and give you ways to overcome your urges and replace this with something better. So when you close your eyes and you take a deep breath and imagine a beautiful ball of light in your hands above your head, gather all of your worries, habits, guilt, shame, all of your negativity, place it into the rainbow lights, and an angel for every problem will come and take care of this for you. Every little thing that you don't need in your life or you're worried about, imagine it going in a big crystal ball on the top of your head, and the angels are just going to come and grab whatever ones they want to grab and take care of. Okay. Every little thing goes in. That's it. Expecting a miracle and nothing else. And each time a bad thought steps up, close your eyes and imagine the ball and repeats. So, you're learning how to delegate all of your emotions. Remember we talked about yesterday that probably 90% of what you've been feeling, judging on certain situations that you've had in your life, are connected, things that you've been feeling are not really your own anyway. And especially when you're an empath and you're picking up other people's crap all the time, you've got to learn how to block that off, because you shouldn't be, right? And so all of these things combined can really bring you into a place of worries and, stress, etc., because it's just all overwhelming all the time, okay? So having the angels to assist you and delegate, that was my first step years ago in my clearing process, like fully trust and sick of it and trying to deal with it ourselves, giving it over. So it'll feel like 1,000 pounds of weight is lifted. Little things about you will change. You will see yourself and people in a different light and become the best person that you can be. But be patient with yourself, as you have spent a lifetime or probably more having these negative views. So it'll be constant work for you, as it is for anybody who's trying to better themselves and walk to the beat of their divine life purpose. So this type of deep healing is the only way to truly rid yourself of deeper emotions that are not helping you or anybody in your life. And as we can see, all it takes is to ask for help and it's given, although we ourselves are the ones that will drag emotions up again, or in some cases are constantly reminded of how other people won't let you forget what you've done or what they've done to you. It's like it just constantly is there. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about that. One thing with all of this is that we can't fix other people's problems unless they first want to heal themselves. There are certain angels that you can call on for emotional healing, crystals that you can use to connect with the angels better, raise your vibrations. We've got to raise our vibrations all the time, okay? And raise your vibrations up all the time. So if you're ready to begin healing, there are ideas of what to say, who to call on to get the ball rolling. And so when I was doing my book, I was writing about some of the angels of emotional healing, some crystals to connect with, some songs to listen to as well, of course, and bringing in certain areas of your life. So for your feet, for speech, for angels of pain, you know, when you have pain in your body, your hands, disabilities, disease, wellness, blood disorders, love, etc., etc., etc. So addictions again, cancer, hearing, vision, your eyesight, your body in general, weight issues as well, chakra balancing. And Asmodel is the angel, of course, now for April and also into May, and is also one of the ones that helps with chakra balancing, helps with your heart space, of course, helps with healing in general. Let's have a look. Helps with eyesight. Archangel Asmodel, thank you for helping to clear my eyesight. Helps with addictions, helps with cancer as well, helping with speech, just about everything. Also in this book, it talks about it. So there were some different angels that were channeled in when I wrote this book as well. I need to do a part 2. But I may just do a lot more teaching on the angels for you guys, and also in courses. And speaking of which, courses are up and available as well. So if you looked at yesterday's post, I put both links to the new courses that are up on Teachable. These are ones that you do by yourself in your own time. Now, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the emotional sides of healing, because it's really important after what we were talking about yesterday. I'm just going to put the chat back up. Sorry, guys. So just as I was, talking yesterday about clearing, okay, and spiritual clearing, and a lot of the things that you feel when you need a clearing, right? So we did all this yesterday. When there's emotional stuff that is going on with you, I'm just going to explain it in a couple of different ways. So as we said a little bit, we sort of touched on yesterday, we touched on survival techniques that you may have, right? Survival techniques that you may have. So one of them may be that you stand up when there's a problem and you're ready to fight. You're ready to argue, okay? If there is, that's just one of your ways of reacting. And I'm talking about reacting as a child. There are some children that are super defiant and they will argue their case and they will stand up for themselves. But it's a part of their survival, mechanism. It may be something that they go on with throughout their life. Another survival mechanism is to just try to make sure that everybody's happy, okay? Oh, there's a problem going on. So this is what the kid does. There's a problem going on with mum. What can I do to just smooth this over and make everybody happy, right? I'm going to be as good as I can, not cause any kind of fuss, and just make sure that there's just happiness everywhere. And this can continue on throughout your life. Where you go about always trying to keep the peace. If there's going to be any kind of argument or something, you just may be like, okay, how can I fix this? It's up to you to fix it. So you may have this responsible energy about you that you've had since little, of just wanting everything to be calm, right? So it's at your own expense when that happens. So you're being that way. Obviously, it's just something that you've been born with, and you've done it, and it's a way of coping. Okay, it's one way for you to cope. If everybody's happy, there's no problem. And what can end up happening with that kind of personality, which is an emotional response to things, is that throughout the rest of your life, you go through, anytime that there's any kind of hint of a problem, you rack your brains how you can fix it, all right? And how you can make everything better, even if it's to your own detriment. So even if you're always losing, you're always going without, you're always last on the list, right? You're always to blame, or it's your fault if something doesn't go right, because all you want to do is try to make everything okay. Okay, so there's that type of personality. Then there's the other type of personality emotionally, that if there's a conflict as a child, you would hide. You're going to be completely out of sight. As soon as something begins, as soon as something, even a hint of a problem, you're going to withdraw, right? And so that's what some people do, is they pull themselves back and can't handle any kind of conflict. This type of personality most likely, not in every case, but most likely will become somebody who is a bit of an introvert or holds high anxiety in their body, because they're always trying to be a step ahead of any kind of problem, no matter where it is. No matter if it's around the world somewhere, they need to be prepared. So they go within all of the time. Right? And so the last kind of type of, response is it's basically to pull yourself out of the situation. All right. But you can come back in and function as if nothing happened. Right. So you pull yourself out of the way. You might go take yourself into your room as a kid, play with some toys or something. You can't hear any noise out there. Oh yeah, just come out bouncing out like, hey, what's up? Nothing's happened. So you don't deal with the problem. You just pretend that it doesn't exist and go about your thing. So you're okay. So there's G. So what happens is that each one of those emotions, okay, other people start to get to know them, and they will try to exploit them, sadly. So knowing that you're the sort of person that is not going, so if you're the sort of person that is going to stand your ground and no one's messing with you and you're going to fight, you rarely have the issue of someone manipulating you. Rarely. Sometimes you might, but most people know where you stand and you hold a commanding energy. It doesn't mean that you don't suffer internally, all right? But it's more than likely people will see you as this tough person when inside of yourself, you just want to be loved like anybody else. You just want to be understood. Inside yourself, you've had to be tough, right? And if you showed any kind of weakness, then, that's a danger zone for you to show weakness, right? So you're probably, if you're the fighting kind, if that's your reaction to stand there and fight somebody, then what's going to happen is that you'll most likely be a leader of some kind, be in management of some kind, of course. You're not going to let anyone stop you. You're going to do whatever you want to do. And you're going to suffer emotionally in silence, because it's just not it's not strong to let anything get to you, right? And these kind of people end up very, very highly wound up if they don't take, if you're not working on your spirituality, of course, and you've got nothing, then you always under this kind of pressure all the time to be a certain way. And it eventually will break down. It eventually does break down. And these kind of people don't want to be asking for help either. So I very rarely will connect with someone who's super tough on the outside, because they don't think they need any help anyway, even if they're really, really struggling on the inside. So people who are tough and people who are fight on the inside are struggling all of the time to maintain, and they end up being the sort of people that have exhaustion issues, fatigue issues. You just can't keep your adrenaline going like that all of the time. But at the same time, they don't want to ask for any help. They want to feel in control of everything in their life, right? The second type of emotional issue, as we said, comes from these are all things that stem from being a kid, that I'm strong, but you suffer. Yeah, okay. So people say that about me as well. They're like, well, you're so strong. So it's, in other words, it must be easy for me. Right? And it's not. Right? And but there's this energy also that you've got to keep going, which is something that you're told as a kid that, you're weak if you give up on something. So you're never going to let that happen. So you're going to just keep going. But inside of yourself, some things are extremely difficult, but you're never going to show that, right? And then there's, people who suffer from PTSD and the complexity of PTSD being triggered. It was a hair on my nose. Being triggered like emotionally, constantly, and something that may have happened a couple of weeks ago, and then suddenly, it's happening to you again. So, when you're that type of an emotional person that will just pull yourself away from the problem, let's say, for example, you withdraw from the problem until the problem is over and then you come back out. Being an introvert or even, social, it's awkward for you in big public things because there's no way to escape. Right? And remember when we were talking yesterday about your feet wanting to leave, wanting to get out of there? There needs to be an escape route. Okay? Some of you are mixed in a few of these different emotional classes as well. The person who's the introvert or the quiet one goes within until there's no more trouble and then comes back out. But then they suffer from anxiety on levels. But it's more sensitivities of everybody else's stuff. So the easiest way for them to get away from it is to just take themselves out of the picture. Okay. But it doesn't deal with what's happening to the person's physical body. And suddenly, the person's physical body is starting to break down, because remember what we said about those pockets, of energy, those thought forms that sink into our body. So although you want to just pull yourself away from a situation, right? Although you want to pull yourself away from a situation and just make sure that everything's clear before you come back out again, which is probably what you did as a kid. I'm just going to go in my room right now. They're having a fight or something, and then I'll come out and everything will be fine. You're still sensitive and were sensitive to the onset of a problem, right? So your senses, as someone that pulls himself away from things, your senses are always on edge just in case there's going to be a problem. This is where your anxiety comes from. It's got to be on front of it so that you don't get blindsided, right? In case there's a problem that you didn't expect. And what also can happen to you, and maybe it happened in past lives, and this is why you've come in with it here, is that there was something that happened to you that you didn't see coming. So your whole life is waiting for something to happen, making sure you're in front of it, and that you've got a safe way to get out of it. Now, if you're in a position where you're at a party or something like that and you don't know the people or whatever, and let's go back a little bit in time when we used to go to parties. So let's just say you can't get out, right? If you can't get out of a situation, you could have a full-blown panic attack at a party and pretend like you're super drunk or something, or pretend like, I need to go. You need to find a way out, right? And so you're okay before you go, but then when you get there, you start thinking, what if something happens? What if something happens? I can't get out? Okay, I'm going to make some kind of problem to get out. So it's an emotional problem, which ends up being obviously psychological as well. Because if you're living in anticipation of something bad happening, and that you have to be in the front of it if it does, and that you have to be prepared so you can prepare yourself, all this extra exertion, okay, leads you to emotional exhaustion, emotional flashbacks, emotional issues. Suddenly the mood's just through the roof, right? nobody understands it as well. Well, I do. I understand all these things that I'm talking about. And there's a way out of everything. Okay, you have to remember this. There's a way to stop those reactions in your body. And the other one that we were talking about before is much like this one, but it's more of a fawn kind of energy, as they call it. And you'll pull yourself away again, like there is no problem whatsoever, but you're just withdrawing until it's totally clear wherever is out there. And then you come back out of your room or whatever it was when you were small. Hey, how's it going? Like all happy and carrying on like nothing has happened, right? So that's the next. That one is also denying. You're denying your feelings. You are extremely sensitive to things. Hey, Cohen. You're extremely sensitive to things. You don't really feel like you have a problem. However, the habit that you have is going into much of self-blame. So whenever there is an issue, hey, Judy, whenever there is an issue in your life, you will go into, okay, it's got to be my fault somewhere, right? And so as you say, you may have a mixture of both, Katie Cat, and you may have this standing your ground thing as a defiance, as a, etc., as a defense mechanism, because these are all defense mechanisms that you have, and all of us have to fall into at least one of these categories in our life. And there's some other things as well, but everything stems from these emotions. And remember what we were talking about yesterday is that all of these emotions and the way that you've reacted and all this survival energy that all of you have in one way or another can also be compounded as being even harder because of the energy plays that are in play that you may not have even realized in your life. And so when you lift them away, you change. And it means you have to change your perspective, the way you do everything, but it naturally happens to you. So people who are always keeping the peace, people who never want to fight, people who never want to argue with anyone, people who will do whatever they're told, end up in very controlling relationships, usually with a narcissist who will know that that's what you're like, that you're going to take the blame, that somehow it's going to be your fault. They think they can get away with anything, right? Because you're just going to take it all on, which is, terrible. It's destroying, because this type of personality is extremely trusting of others. And that's what someone like a narcissist or someone with a personality disorder, mental health issues is going to prey on. So it was not that there was anything wrong with being a soft and kind-hearted person. It's just that the wrong people that you will naturally just trust will take advantage of that and advantage of you until you just can't take any more, right? And a lot of this kind of group of people that end up in this group feel like they need to just take themselves away from life completely. The world will be better off without them. They're sick and tired of being nice and being walked all over all the time. So people like that end up getting into a burnout phase where they feel completely useless because they've been used so much. Okay, so each one of these groups, emotional groups, of course, that I'm talking about, anything like I'm saying can be completely healed. All right. But once you have an acknowledgement of how you feel and why you felt that way, and you can see this pattern, replaying itself in your life, the only duty that you have, the only duty that you have to yourself is to focus on you, right? To focus on I'm going to get forward. I'm going to get out of this. There's nothing wrong with my personality. There's nothing wrong with being a kind and loving person. And the right people respect that. The wrong people take advantage of this. And I have somehow let that happen in my life. Now, that's not for you to go back and blame yourself again. It's just for you to recognize, okay, the habits, the patterns, the people, the relationships that you've had. Something always told you right in the beginning, this is not the right thing, you know? Yeah, you know, intentionally taking advantage of you, you know, and this has happened to me as well. This is not, you know, just, and I knew my instincts were screaming at me in a certain situation in my life to not move forward with it. But the stubborn side of me was like, well, I'm just going to do that. I want to do this. I'm getting out of here. I'm doing this. And thinking that I was tough about it because I was making a decision. But really my instincts were telling me, like, this is not good for you. This is not good for you. Any person that I've ever met, it's like I've got the green light, or, you know, or I just get this feeling that something's not quite right. We all have that, you know. Yeah, you get real stubborn about it, right? You're like, well, I'm just going to do what I want to do. So shut up, higher self. Shut up, intuition. I know you're screaming at me for a reason, but I don't want to be judgy or anything. So, you know, we do know when we connect with someone, whether it's right or wrong, right? And, you know, it's not just even about relationships, but when we've been in when we've been in a situation as a kid where there's been certain expectations, all right, certain things that we've had to do, certain society sort of things, right, things that we've had to look at. This determines the rest of our life and, you know, how we cope with everything, right? See? And believe me, you know, being in it seems like you ignore your intuition, and yeah, exactly. You end up just trying to fix this person in your life constantly till you're so resentful and you're so exhausted and you can't believe that your guides let you go in this direction. Why didn't you save me? And they're like, we were trying to save you and you were just ignoring us. And, you know, we were trying to tell you and you wouldn't listen. Because sometimes when we don't listen, it's because there's no real outward signs. Okay? There's no real outward signs. It's a feeling that we have. Something's not right. You know, something doesn't feel right. And, you know, sometimes when you're, say, for example, working with clients, or you're working with healing, or you're working with readings or something, there's a very big lesson in that for you as well. If there's somebody that you feel that is, if you feel that it's, I'll tell you simply, Cakes, hang on a minute. If you are working with someone and you get this feeling that you shouldn't be working with them, you know, you have to listen to that's like the nudge from the universe that this won't be the right mix. And as much as you want to help somebody, as much as you know you can help somebody, if you get that feeling, you need to walk away, right? So when it comes to your intuition and when it comes to it screaming at you and you don't understand why it's screaming at you, right? Yeah, right. It's exactly. So the lesson in it is how many times are you not going to listen? Yeah, how many times are you not going to listen and get burnt? Like, how many times is that going to happen to you? It happens until you start acting on that first impulse that you had. Yeah. Okay, Marianne. Cool. So you have all of these emotional, you know, sections of your life that you feel that there's, because you're not going to be the sort of person that would manipulate somebody else and do it on purpose and, you know, go out to take everything from them and go out of your way to steal or go out of your way to lie, right? you're not that sort of person. So the thing is that you don't expect other people to do that, right? You don't. I can't read all your message. Sorry, it went up and goes. You don't expect others, and that's what hurts you, is the fact that you're not that sort of person. Why are you attracting this kind of person? It's really not that you're attracting the person, it's that it's a lesson on listening to your intuition, whether you understand it or not. And I'm telling you now, if I get an inkling about a situation or whatever, I don't hesitate. It's done. It's shut down. That's it. If, it's people, it's situations, if it doesn't feel right to me, I just say straight away, nah, doesn't feel right. I'm not doing it. Even if I don't understand why. And it's saved me, because otherwise, when I haven't listened to my intuition, you guys have seen, the situations myself that, has happened to me. So it's like, well, you're supposed to know everything. Well, no, I don't listen to everything. That's my problem. I think I know what's better sometimes. And that's probably what's happened to you guys, is that you're just like, yes. And it's like, then people will say to me, oh, I don't know what the difference is. How do I know when it's my intuition? How do I know when it's my intuition and it's just my mind thinking? That's when you say, okay, I'm going to get myself grounded and cleared and in this right energy for receiving, and then I'm going to ask my higher self. Believe me though, if you have to ask yourself or anybody else, is this person right? Is this situation right? Is this job the one for me? Is this the right person for me? If you have to ask that, you already know that it's not. I'm sad to say, because you're already confused about it, right? And you don't need to suffer a life of PTSD either. People say, wow, I've got anxiety and I've got this and I've got it and you've got it and you've got it. And that's what you're saying. I've got it. You have to change that decree that you're making as well, because that just makes you feel useless. That's making you feel even worse. If someone slaps a label and says, you've got PTSD, oh, you go, oh my God, now what am I going to do? Instead of saying, oh, well, I used to have PTSD. Now I'm going to work on reversing all the damage that stupid PTSD that wasn't even my fault has caused. Some people don't, though. Some people have the PTSD and they just want to have it. They want to be angry. They want to beat people up, right? They want to live in this sense of being powerful. Some people that are like that, and the power, ego trip, superiority complex, and how dare you think lower of me, and this and this and this. Those people like that, they have got a split in their personality, but it may not be something that it's actually not even their fault, perhaps. If you go back to yesterday's video on all the different things that can be occurring to a person, like even visiting a hospital, you need a clearing after you've been to the hospital, unless you're full on protecting yourself. And a lot of people forget to do that. So saying, oh, I suffer from this, change it. Just change that to start with, because that gives your body, even though you may not believe it straight away because you'll be waiting for something to come up, it gives your body a chance that there's light at the end of the tunnel. You don't have to suffer from any kind of mental illness at all. And the voices and people, I've dealt with all kinds of situations, and that's why I'm bringing it forward as well, because I know for a fact firsthand, that you can reverse all of this damage that's been done to you, energetically, physically, spiritually, sexually, whatever it is for you that has happened to you, right? And I know that some people, a few people have asked me now, but I'd made a video, I don't know, a few days ago or whatever, and it was about, it was just one card, and I told a personal story in that session, right? I told just one personal story. And sometimes you guys, you really like that, you know. Some of my stories are way long though, so you know, I can't just say, oh, this happened to me at one point. It would take a long time, but to illustrate, you know, a lot of different things, I will from time to time pull things what I call out of the vault, because it feels like I'm talking about another person, when for me it was real to me. Everything that was happening was happening. It was real, it was raw, it was hard, it was frustrating. I felt alone and rejected, and there is no angels, and no one's there. That's what it felt like, you know. And being at rock bottom, being homeless, and, you know, having nothing, and sleeping in the Salvation Army clothing bin as a young woman, you know, all that sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, so some things, like Katie said, you'll get this thing and you don't know what it is. You don't need to know what it is. Okay, thanks, Veronica. You don't need to know what the feeling is given to you. Okay, let me examine this feeling that I'm having. I'm getting an intuitive feeling that I shouldn't be going in this direction. What does that really mean? Why shouldn't I go in this direction? Don't question it. Just go, okay, the message is received. For whatever reason, I need to move back from this situation. So you can see that, whoops. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you're still there. You can see that I just need to plug myself in. That there are reasons why we do the things that we do. There are reasons why things have to happen in our life, in our lifetime, things that we're learning. But when there's all of this energy of, I don't understand why something happens, or I have to suck everything in because I need to be really strong, or I just want everybody to be happy, or I'm just feeling responsible, I have to be the one that's in charge, like I have to be strong. If you're feeling those things and it's all about everybody else and how you're going to have to react to everyone else, right? If you're always thinking that, outside of, you're just thinking of what's coming up or what could possibly happen, or who this person is, or maybe I should have trusted my instinct over there, or I'm going to get in trouble at work, so I'm going to be paranoid for days and days before. You know, if you're always doing all of these things to yourself, then everybody else is more important to you in your life than you. And my biggest goal, and I keep saying to you guys, is talking about this empowerment, because all of our power is given away throughout our life to others that we feel deserve it. And we need to understand why we feel we don't deserve it, okay? And having all of this confusion with other people, with past situations, with relationships that we've been in that were terrible and toxic. We all knew that before going in, but we just didn't want to believe it, or we wanted to be able to help, or that was my problem. I always like, well, I can fix that, you know. But our energy is wasted by doing that. And as I've said to you before, we all come in with a set of tasks that we want to achieve. One of them is to remember who we really are, right? Another one is to understand that things aren't happening to us. We're not being punished by these situations that are happening, right? It's that they are there to see how we're going to react to them. And we can either, you know, fold and cave and, you know, try to fix it all, or we can run away from it all and then come back later thinking it's all going to be over. Or, you know, we can just try to make everybody happy and never admit our own feelings, you know. And and it's like, or we can just allow ourselves to continue to be used because that's what we think that we deserve. Yeah, you know, and you've got all these different frequencies and all these different things that can affect your emotions, and can affect how you think, and can affect how you feel about things, and can affect your physical body, your mental capacities, your ability to connect to spirit. You feel all over the place if you're jumping all over the place all the time. you are not in your body properly, you are avoiding things. If you're always saying there's something wrong with me, there's something wrong, then that's what other people see as well. You know, that's what's going on with you, that there's flustering energy and stress like all the time for you. So, you know, you've got to pull yourself together, you know, and just get it together, especially right now, and say, look, I can't be thinking about all of these things. I'm going to allow and delegate my healers and, you know, my guides and everybody that's there to take care of that. I'm just going to focus on one day at a time and do what I can for that day, but monitor the way that I feel when others make me feel like I have to do something for them, or else I'm in trouble, you know, or I'm to blame. Oh, it's my fault that the family's not talking to me. Oh, it's my fault that, you know, they're all miserable, that sort of thing. Well, that's what we're here for, Veronica. Hopefully this can help you. So it's a big lie that you're told throughout your life, that you have to be emotionally supportive of people who are supposed to be emotionally nurturing you, right? So it doesn't matter whether you're male or female. If you've had to totally take care of things as a child and growing up, and look after the emotional needs of your parents or your siblings or family members, and making choices and decisions around how this is going to affect them, whether it's going to make them upset, whether they're going to be angry with you. If you've had to emotionally walk around on eggshells as a small child and you've never really looked at it, then that's something that you take into your adulthood and you take it into your relationships, and it can serve as being extremely painful for you until you understand that you went through a terrible amount of strain that you didn't need to, right? Terrible amount of strain that you didn't need to go through. And it was never your fault. If anything happens as a child to you, the only responsibility that should be placed on anybody is on those that were supposed to be looking out for you, looking after you, right? And I know that I've talked to a lot of people, and they tell me certain things that have happened when they were little, and it's like, what? You know, this was allowed to happen to you when you were little, and you don't think anything of it, you know? And I think a lot of the times what happens is when you become a parent yourself, you go, oh my God, I could never do those things that happened to me. I could never do those things, you know, and then you start getting angry at your parents. It's like, you guys let all this happen to me. You know, what kind of, not even parent, but people. And it's people that never had something resolved themselves. You know, that's what ends up happening. Nothing, you know, nothing is, it's like, I'll talk about the situation with my mother, okay, which is a tough situation because it's a very interesting thing, all right? So when I was small, right, so you gave it to your daughter, Candy. Some mothers don't do that because they had an issue in their life of not being nurtured. They take it out on their children. Well, why should you get more love than me? What my mum did was, when things separated between my mum and my father, you know, I was about 5 years old or whatever. And my dad took my older brother and moved back to the United States and left me and my younger brother. So suddenly I'm the oldest and I have my younger brother. They left, my dad put me on a plane by myself over to my mother in the Western Australia. So most of my childhood grew up from after the age of 5, grew up in Western Australia. And what happened is that there was a difference. All right, so my mum was this lady that was happy, big smile, like me, right? She was always in church and in church singing with the choir. And in Australia, you may have heard of John Farnham, you know, a big singer from the day. And my mum sang backup vocals for him in the late 60s, early 70s. So if you know John Farnham, you know he was the voice and all that sort of stuff. So my mum was a lot of fun in cabarets and, you know, singing around New Zealand and Australia, a fun-loving person and a good mother from when I was little. Suddenly, so she split up away from my dad. Her own father died, like within that whole year. And her own father, my granddad, was just like the man, you know. So he would never have allowed anything to happen to us as grandkids. And he kept my mum, you know, she was under some kind of like, I would never want to upset my dad kind of rule, you know. And he wasn't a mean person. He was just respect, you know, you just had a lot of respect. So there was a difference in my mum. All of a sudden, it was like somebody stepped into her place and there was this other person that was suddenly my mum there. And it was so maniacal and it was so evil, the things that ended up happening. Only to me, my little brother was protected. I used to protect him from everything. So to me, you know, there was a lot of dark, and I'm talking evil things that she allowed other people to do to me. And she'd stand there watching, thinking it was funny, you know, for someone to be in a lot of pain and screaming in pain. My mum thought it was funny for that to occur. And I'm like, this is a completely different woman. So it wasn't until I was older, I was still looking for my old mum, the mum that was there, right? And I was looking for her my whole life. Where's that lady gone? Where's my mum that's saying I'm Mrs. Noah in church? And everyone was like, wow, this is fantastic. You know, she's doing this show in front of church, you know. And it was fantastic. She worked at the school. She was there at my, you know, when I was in kindergarten. And suddenly there was this dark figure that allowed abuse to occur horrifically. And without saying too much about it, even to the point of drugging me and sending me in a car for 3 days into a room with a whole lot of people in that room, and I wasn't allowed out for 3 days. That's all I'm going to say. You can imagine, and that's what happened. So it was basically drugged, thrown in this car, thrown in this room, and I was like, you know, young, very, very little. All of these things happened to me, and then somehow she came and picked me up again. I don't even know whether she was supposed to, or whether I was supposed to be sold there, or something happened. It was very, very off and disgusting, right? So taken away, put in, this was something that you leave your body. You leave your body. You don't let your body go through that trauma, right? So you leave your body, and then you spend, you know, your lifetime trying to figure out why, you know, what happened. And so what I could come up with, and what I started to study about and learn about, and what I'm telling you guys is the power of self-healing and understanding the layers and the contraptions and the things that can happen to you and the situations that can come about, and where you blame yourself constantly, where you try to improve constantly, where you try to be good constantly, and why that happens. And when you start to look into that, as I did, I started to look into, in the beginning of the story, started to look into the symptoms, the symptoms of someone who was having psychosis, the symptoms of someone who was abusive, the symptoms of someone, you know, who is a walk-in, right? And there's this walk-in energy that comes in. And so, you know, the symptoms of those things are huge. And, you know, you go through these life experiences and you are always the trash, right? You're just always dragged along as the trash. And you start thinking yourself in that way. And that's just a tiny fragment, guys, of the amount of times, you know, things happened that my mum allowed and would bring people in and watch. You know, it was terrible what was going on. So now this is why the justice energy is always there. The underdog is there. Like I've got your, you know, the energy of it. Like I want to help you so much because I know, right? And I can tell you like the lowest of the lows. And I wanted to, and I wasn't expecting, again, I'm not expecting to share any of this with you guys, but illustrating the, you know, the uncovering of things in your life as you do. And Candy, I know that, you know, for most of you that are listening, there's something inside of you all that you're also dealing with that is a dark, you know, secret, right? It's something that is embarrassing, it's shameful, it's horrible, and it's not even your fault, right? And, okay, extreme trauma. Yeah, so, you know, leaving the body is a defense mechanism, as I was talking about yesterday, where we're jumping on a trampoline and our energy stays up and the rest of us just keeps on going through whatever we're going through physically. But the essence of ourself pulls ourselves away to cope. Yeah. The soul expansion, the knowledge. You know that I'm still recovering memories from being very small too. There's still things that I don't want to look at, you know, and there's more than you can imagine than that. Ooh, scary. And honestly, I, you know, thank you for saying that you're really sorry, etc. But for me, I didn't want to say this to get any sympathy at all. It's more to illustrate that once you're on the other side of all of this and you understand it, you understand energy, you understand healing, you understand things that can step into your life, you understand how you're almost killed or whatever it was. And that's the other things was almost being killed. She tried to kill me several times, like personally with her own hands. When you've been through all this and you understand that you don't need to know why, like that's a huge thing. Because for the first massive part of my life, I, you know, wanted to know why all of it happened. And I wanted her to tell me. I wanted her to be sorry. I wanted her to, you know, what happened to you kind of thing, right? And yeah, and I don't need to know anymore. I don't, it's like, and as I was saying to you, it's like I'm looking at this girl that's called Becky and that was her life, and I'm looking at it and it just feels like a foreign body. It really does. And even though there's still things that are there, you know, there's still situations that are changing. There's still the little girl before the age of 5 and whose mum was, you know, fun, who still would wish that that would come back, who still wishes that that person would come back. But it's not up to me. That's her life, you know, her life journey. Agitating, you know, being an agitator or a deceiver, or someone walked into her body, perhaps. It seems like it because it's, you know, almost a complete reverse of who the person was. For some people, it comes on with alcohol, drugs, losses. You know, for her, I guess maybe it was her dad passing and, you know, separating from my dad as well. And maybe that's what caused a break of reality, right? So that can sometimes, and when you're having that and you're in the lowest of the low, remember about lowering your frequency, that's when things come in. That's when things just come in, right? And if you're not prepared for it, you've got all of this energy stuff and the dark energies that's accumulating around you, because demons and negative spirits and all of that is an accumulation of negative energy that is attracted to negative energy, right? So if you're not in a lower vibration, right, there you go. I am new every day. If you're in this lower vibration, you're not aware of it. You can't fix it. No, Katie. Actually, she went more into drugs and prescription drugs and drinking in the year 2000. So like 21 years ago, she got into all of that when my brother Nathan died, which was my older brother who went, as I said, over to the United States with my dad. He came back to Australia when I was like 20, 21. He came back to Australia and was killed 6 weeks after he arrived back in Australia. He died in a car accident. And after that happened, my mum, it was just like, that's the end, you know. So she's still around as far as I know. But just, it's just sad to see, you know, just like the demise. Like when my mum was my age, you know, when she was this age, she looked like she was, you know, 60 years old, you know, completely, right? So we want to, even at this point, so really at this point, we still want to fix our parents, don't we? We still want to fix, because there's part of us that just has that energy. And you know, obviously for me, I want to help people all the time, even my mum, you know. I'd be like, if she came forward today, you know, everything would be forgiven. Okay, we're doing it, right? Oh, great. I'm so glad. So, you know, so when you do this, and I know some people are new to my channel and they probably didn't know a lot of my history of a deep abuse growing up and separations from family and all that sort of stuff. People see me now and they're like, well, nothing happened to her, you know, so what's the deal? It's like, this is who I've become because I gave myself the time, you know, and, you know, I gave myself the empowerment. I read, I researched, like, you know what I'm like. You guys should know by now that if I'm telling you about something, it's because I've absorbed about 15 books on the subject and then figured out my own way of doing it. If someone came forward that I had a very terrible past with, I would still want to help them. That's me. But I wouldn't be reaching out either. I don't reach out to people who disregard or discard me. But if they reached out to me and needed help and assistance and they realized there's something I can't do, I'm stuck, right? And I'm sorry if you're putting up posts that are super long, they only stay up for a second or two and I can't read them. Sorry. But yeah, so if people come forward with their problems and they were like truly like, okay, show me how to get out of this, that's the best thing, you know. But if people want to scream and be angry and the world hates you and bitter like that, then you're never going to see past that unless you get to this breaking point in your life. And some people get to the breaking point and they accelerate their addictions even more because they just want to smother it all over. Some people get to a breaking point. In fact, most of us do. We get to rock bottom and then suddenly we're like, you know what? To hell with everybody else. To hell with this thing over here. I've got to do this, you know? And yeah, right? And believe me though, when you guys see me, I've overcome so many things, right? But there was many years where I suffered anxiety and stress and wondering if I was good enough or bad, or you know, what was my problem? Where did I go wrong? Right? Just like you all. Where did I go wrong? You're always looking to blame yourself. This is not your fault. If you've been a child and you've had to, it doesn't matter who's had what, situation of abuse. Your trauma is your trauma, and your trauma is valid, and you can't be comparing your trauma to anybody else's. And my survival technique was, there's always someone worse, there's always someone worse, there's always someone worse. And I didn't acknowledge that mine was pretty darn bad, as well. But there's always someone worse kept me going, right? And I'm thankful to you too, Sindra. Looking forward to see you again soon. So when you go through your trauma and you hear someone else's story, don't fall into that pattern of, I've got nothing to complain about because my life was not as bad as that. No, that's a bad thing as well. That's you pushing it away as not being relevant, And so you have to acknowledge you and your situation, which was unique for you and your trauma. That however you've been treated as a child, growing into an adult, as a teenager, going into adult life, however you've been talked to or treated like, has affected you, has affected your decisions, has affected your whole life through on one level or another. And when you decide that you're going to look at those things with compassion for yourself, with an understanding, as though you're holding the hand of a little girl or a little boy with your name, and you're holding their hand, you would care for them, and you would look after them, and you would show them ways to get well, and having the understanding that they didn't do anything wrong, right? Your situation as a child had nothing to do with you. And if you've been taking the blame for, maybe I was this, or maybe I was that, or maybe I should have been tougher, or maybe I should have punched him straight in the nose, or whatever you've told yourself that you should have been able to get away from a situation, it doesn't matter, because you were not in control as a child of what adults' decisions were for you, around you, and in your environment. You had no control over what you were born into, what life was out, laying itself in front of you, how you wished you just had a normal family, how you, even if you had a normal family on the outside, that on the inside you were still struggling with things, and you don't want to say it because it's not as bad as Joe Blogs over there and their life. That's a trap as well. And the reasons, and I start these I start these talks in a certain way, and out comes everything else. But the reason that I'm doing these 12 days live, right, is number one is because I haven't done, live shows every day for a really long time. Number two, I want you to understand that there's so much more than just having your readings done, even though I don't mind doing readings or whatever. There's so much more to me as well than just being a card reader or something, I feel like my energy here on this planet is to help as many people to help themselves as I can. Help you, help yourself. Help you and understand and resonate with you. Listen to you and hear things that you're not hearing, that you're saying, that you don't realize you're saying. And help you to get, into the right space for yourself. Yeah, so extreme trauma, they don't have any answers for, other than there must be some reason why you're not a basket case. So how does one person in their nature survive the nurturing that they've had as well? So one person's nature may not have anything to do with how they were nurtured. This big topic in psychology, nature versus nurture, right? What's your nature and what was your upbringing? Because some people whose nature are bad, right, have a beautiful upbringing, but they are here for darkness or whatever, so murderers and rapists and killers, all that sort of stuff. They are here for that agenda. Had nothing to do with their upbringing. It was their nature. a lot of people are turned because of their nurturing into something bad. And then there's the people who are, what do you call it, resilient or whatever, how nothing seems to get to them, how nothing seems to be there, right? How nothing seems to, it actually, for me personally, the more hindrances that I have, the more people who are against me, the more people who do whatever they're doing, whatever, the more it makes me become even stronger, go to the next level, do the next thing, teach the next subject. It just inspires me. And I remember my brother saying to me that your life circumstances are either a hindrance to you in your life or a help. Which one is it going to be? Are you always going to feel like you can't get past what happened to you? If you feel that way, then you're thinking on it all the time. You're thinking on it, you're wondering, you're looking for motives, you're looking to blame. The blame goes to you. You get angry with yourself because you're being blamed. You feel punished. It's going around and around and around. Then you feel punished. Then you get angry that you're being punished, and why should you be punished and nobody else is being punished, and it wasn't your fault, and they've done all this to me. Oh, well, it must be because there's something wrong with me, and God hates me, and spirit and the universe hate me, and someone over there is more special than me, and they're stronger than me, and they're better than me, and they're prettier than me, and they're skinnier than me, and they've got more talent than me, so what am I going to do? There's people like that will get so far and then sabotage themselves. You know, get right up to 11, then go, oh, well, you know, my expectation is that this is not going to work because nothing's ever worked for me before. So I'm just going to give up and go right back to where I was. Feeling sorry for myself, basically. That's what ends up happening. And then being angry that nobody else does. I'm a Jedi. I love it. The Force is with you. You know, it's like, the thing is there's a way out of every, yes, see, people grow up thinking there's something wrong with them, and then they just start thinking that that's why people treat them like crap, because there's something wrong with them. No, people are treating you like crap because they want to. That they're going to treat everybody like crap. You get a troll on YouTube and you start taking it personally. No, that person is going everywhere saying the same thing. It's not you. It's just, they just have fun trying to stir you up, right? In one way or another. It doesn't work with me. If there's a troll that comes, delete, goodbye. I'm not even wasting my energy. Someone wants to start calling me something, they're gone. Someone wants to start accusing me something of what they've actually done themselves and start trying to put it on my YouTube and stuff, and they're the ones that have actually done it, they're gone. They're reported. See ya, you know? I don't put up with it in my personal life, in my professional life, you know, as well. So, you know, if people want to go then, and they want to have a go and they want to waste all their energy, they can do it. I'm not going to fight back. I'm on to the next thing already. I'm moving past that. I don't stay and dwell in it, right? And that was something that my granddad always said, and I can remember it from being like 5 years old. You know, don't dwell on it. He'd always say that. They said that in the Navy, said it in the Army. He was in the Navy. And he'd be like, don't dwell on it. You haven't got time to dwell on things. And it's like, that's right. We're wasting our time dwelling on all of these other people and other crap, right? Right? And so it doesn't do us any good, even though we're trying to categorize everything or put it into compartments or log it off somewhere, right? Yeah, I know, you know. And narcissist people will do that and gaslight you and make you think that you're going crazy. This happens in some relationships as well, where you know for sure something happened and your partner's like, no, that didn't happen, and nah, you've got it all wrong, now you're going crazy. If someone says that to you, run. Get away, all right? Because if you know for sure something happens and someone is trying to tell you that it hasn't and they're lying, right? You need to get the hell out of there, because that's just what's always going to happen. So, so many things, like, oh my God. we're not alone. There are, all, as I'm trying to explain, is that all of us have been through trauma. What my energy or whatever I did as a child, whatever happened as a kid or whatever, is different to the next person, the next person, the next person. But at the same time, it doesn't invalidate anything that's happened to you or happened to me. Right? It doesn't matter. It happened. And you know it happened. Right? And you've lived your life wondering why something occurred. And it's a waste of time to do that. You are never going to get an answer from that person. You're never going to get an apology, especially from a narcissist. Right? You're never going to, I love you too, husband. You're never going to get an apology. You're never going to get an answer. You're never going to get a reason, right? You're never going to get full clearance from that person begging for forgiveness. I mean, if you do, it's a miracle, right? But it's very rare. So you're going to have to learn to understand. Part of your journey is to recognize when you're being abused, manipulated, treated badly, and get away from it. And deal with yourself as being as important as you feel these other people are or were in your life. That you give yourself the love and support that you may have never got from your own parents. That you make a pact with yourself. All right? And you make a pact with yourself that you're not going to quit on yourself ever. Even if everybody in the whole world, were against you, that you understand that you are never against yourself. Because you walk with yourself. You bring yourself forward. You live your life and nobody can understand exactly what you've been through ever. And if you put a judgment on yourself, then you're going to expect others to judge you. If you are judging other people, it's only because you expect a judgment to come back to you from somebody else. Because that's what you've experienced. If you are not healed from a relationship that was very manipulative or greedy or controlling, then you're going to go into a new relationship expecting your partner to somehow rip you off. In one way or another, you might as well just go now. Right? You may sabotage something wonderful because you were expecting something bad because that's what you've ever seen. Right? That's all you've ever seen. It does take a lot of inner strength, but more it takes this determination, right? It takes a determination and a willingness to trust something other than your family, people, places, situations, but instead trust that as a portal of light here on this earth, okay, that you have a mission to be hold this light. All right, for once in your life, grab it completely and understand where it leaks out to everyone and everywhere else, right? And understand what you've been through in your own way has shaped you and will continue to shape you. It's going to continue to help you to grow, right? It's going to continue to show you just how ingenious you really are with the plan that you gave yourself before you even came to this planet. You gave yourself this plan. You know, you've figured it out. Sending love to you all as well. And the thing of it is the saddest part is when people who are so amazing give up, right? So amazing, just thinking that their whole life is just a waste of time. And, you know, I don't want anyone to ever to get to that point where they feel like giving up completely at all. Because that's giving away everything to all of these other people who are abusive. So it's almost like saying you agree with them and their abusive ways by giving into it. or you make sure that you shut that door right down and continue to move forward on your path. It's a good reminder, the Gaslight movie, right? Making someone feel like they're going crazy. So what ends up happening in a gaslighting situation is that you stop saying anything at all, expressing anything at all, and suck right back in and go into some kind of subservient energy where you just don't do anything other than what you're told. Sad, right? Your purpose in life, for any of you that are listening, you would have heard me say this before, is to find happiness on every level. Not just I'm happy today, on every level. Be at peace on every level of your life, where you can examine all these parts of pieces of your life and be at peace with all of them, with knowledge and understanding of who you really are. And also understanding that you are enlightened already, right? You already have it there. So allow your light to shine. Allow it to come out more. And if you're still doubting it and wondering, and what is my thing, then you're missing the point of your soul journey. And that is to question nothing about yourself. To never let anyone put a label on who you are. To never be defined by your circumstances or your past or your childhood or your upbringing. To understand every emotion that comes at you and why it's coming and the trigger that might have happened to cause that. To understand that people are going to come and go from your life, and it doesn't always have anything, it has nothing to do with you if they're coming and going from your life, right? And if your parents are dysfunctional and abusive, that's their issue. It had nothing to do with you. And the more that you can analyze yourself as a powerful energy and analyze yourself as moving forward and analyze yourself as past all of this stuff, and that you can see when things come in, you can see when something upsets you, when you can see that someone is trying to upset you. Because what a narcissist will do is, once you get strong, right? Once you get strong within yourself, and if this is talking about a narcissistic parent or something, they've always been able to get you to do whatever they want you to do. If that happens and they can't hook you in with feeling sorry for themselves and expecting you to feel sorry for them, if that doesn't work, then they'll try a mean tactic. So they'll go with trying to make you feel sorry for them, and then they'll say something nasty to spin you on your wheels a little bit, like on your heels, like this. It spins you like this, and so you start going, oh my God, I'm back in it, or I'm going backwards, or I better reach out. I better make them happy again because they've been angry at you, right? And then the next thing will be is, if that doesn't work and you're able to contain yourself, right? Then what will happen is that the next thing that comes will be another emotional blow. Oh, well, poor me, Oh, well, I guess I'll just have to do it by myself then. And you're like, oh my God, But when you're in it, you can't see it because it's been there your whole life. So if this was your mother, for example, and she's always been able to wind you up some way, or abuse you in some way emotionally, or make you feel responsible for her emotions, right? Then that's what they expect you to always do. You've always got to jump when they say jump. You've always got to do everything they tell you to do. And you'll do it because you just want everything to be even. But when they can't get that reaction out of you anymore because you've done all your self-healing and that, somehow they're going to put the blame all on you when you're not around. They're going to get their flying monkeys to listen, right? They're going to get all of their flying monkeys to listen, which are people that they set up and tell a story to and get sympathy from and all that sort of stuff. then they may create some kind of, if it's an ex-partner or something, they may try to create some kind of smear campaign, which is absolute rubbish, but they'll tell whoever they can tell, who might listen to gossip all about it when it's actually what they've done. So they're gonna tell all of their flying monkeys that you've done all of these things, but it's really what they've done, right? So it goes on and on and on. But when you get strong and powerful, you don't even care. It doesn't bother you. It doesn't consume you. It doesn't, have anything to do with you. And those manipulative, if they can't get a reaction from you, they just go away eventually, right? So all of these things, that we are working on within ourselves is worthwhile, because you want to get to this point where nothing bothers you anymore, right? That's what you're all here for, getting to this point. And understanding yourself on a deeper level and ripping all the raw, everything has to come out to the surface. And when you're talking to somebody else, you've got someone that you can trust and rely on and talk with, etc. When you're talking with this energy and talking with them, they should be able to pick up all of the things that you've, had happen, and how that's made you feel, and why you do what you do. And then you can get past it as well. Yeah, and you shouldn't be I know love is the key and everything, but don't feel that you have to be in a bad situation just because, oh, well, I've been here for this long now. Oh, well, I've just learned how to deal with them. No, you're miserable. If you're in a situation that you're not loved, or you don't feel any love, if you don't wake up every day feeling that you have the love of your life by your side, and that you can't wait for the day to unfold and see what you guys are going to get up to, if you don't have that, then you're just living a joke, because your whole life is revolving around being miserable as something that you're putting up with. It's something that you're dealing with. Well, there's all these other things. I've been together so long now, what's the point? There's always a point, right? And, Marianne, it wasn't about you. It's just about in general, right? In general. If that's what's going on in your life on any level, if you don't wake up happy, if you don't wake up secure, if you don't wake up ready for, an adventure to occur, there's something pulling at you on one way or another emotionally, right? And this is, just again, it's not about anyone or anything or any situation, because we've all been there in our own way in different situations. We've all had it. We've all experienced it. We've all been through stuff that we don't want to repeat, of course. And, there just comes a point in our life where we matter. We have to matter. And it's not about being better than anybody else or anything like that. It's not even about anybody else at all. It's about yourself and your journey. And when you're honest with that part of yourself, then no longer do these manipulative energies have any hold over you anyway, ever again, right? And it just doesn't exist. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we've got to do, Marianne, is find love and forgiveness, but maybe just accept love and forgiveness for ourselves first. And forgetting, we don't have to forgive everybody else in their journey. We have to first have compassion for us, first, foremost, before anybody else. And then we start noticing, who's not giving that energy back to us, right? Who doesn't have our best interest at heart, and move away from anything like that as well. So I guess today was all about different types of emotions and things. Exactly. So everything was about emotions, trigger points, things that upset us. And the biggest message for all of you is Yeah, exactly. These people are agitators in our life. Remember, we did, if you were a patron, we did a lot about our life journey, our soul purpose. And there was 44 or 45 different themes that we can have in our life. And all of those different themes can split off into all different things as well. Right? And so many people experience these different themes that they want to do. Sometimes it's completely the opposite. Sometimes those themes that we think that we have are completely the opposite of what's actually happening, right? Ourself as well. If you have to take medications to help yourself heal, okay, if you feel, yeah, if you feel that you need to take medications to help yourself heal, be aware that the medications in themselves are going to have a lot of suppressive qualities to them. It's going to be very difficult. But as a therapist, as someone who helps you, I never tell anyone to get off their tablets or anything like that until you're absolutely sure that you can. And tablets and chemicals in your body leave your aura in a weakened state, and in that weakened state they can be you can have interferences energetically that happen. And I know because I did take antidepressants at one point in my life a long time ago, and it was really horrible what was going on with them, right? But if you've ever had to taken medication for pain or whatever it's been that you've had to do, it will leave you vulnerable in some area or another. And it's also part of covering up your own inner pain is by taking something to make it go away. And the only way that it truly never comes back again in your life, any issue, any mental health issue or any physical issue, the only way it will never come back again is if you address it openly, if you recognize the way in which you've thought about something that has given the way that you've thought about something in your life which has created a response in your body. So the way that you've thought about things has created an emotion, of course, has created an issue in one way or another. And so taking the medication just keeps you in that lower level still, so it's even longer for you to be able to get forward. However, if you feel that taking medications or whatever it is that you need is going to help you at that point, you've got a positive energy towards it, then it's better than not, and not knowing how to get forward and not knowing how to put one foot in front of the other and falling apart even worse. So I agree with it, but I also disagree with it because I know what it takes to get yourself completely away from all kinds of medications, etc. In our life, right? And you know this because of my own health things that have happened. And, in my 20s especially, a lot of operations and cancer and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So, Marianne, some of the things that you're saying, etc., are personal, and I get that. And everyone's got their own personal situations. And as I just said, if you have had to take medications, or your granddaughter's had to have them, and she feels better and she feels like there's hope, right? Then that's a good thing. That's a positive thing, right? But there will come a point in life, what if there weren't any meds there? What if there wasn't anything like that? There comes a point in life where we've got to figure out our own pain or our own mental issues or our own stresses or our own anxieties. There comes a point where we have to face it, right? And if we do know how to do that, then that's perfect. If we know how to do those things, that's awesome, right? And I'm just sharing as well that this is my take on it as well. So there'll come a point when we all have to face things. What if tomorrow everything was shut down? We have no internet, we have no access to anything, we're all on our own. You can't go to the dispensary, you can't go and just get your, tablets or whatever. We would have to figure things out. And if you know how to do that, it's so much easier, right? It's so much easier to know that you can cope with anything and everything. So whilst I'm always saying, and I always will say, never stop even if you're going through healing, don't stop any of your medications until you're completely ready and you know that you can move forward from them, right? It's silly to take someone who's not ready away from something that was in one way helping them, right? And so as we go through our emotional, energies and things that are coming up, I hope that this video helps you to access some of the patterns, again, talking about patterning, some of the patterns that you might hold, some of the situations that you might have in your life, and it might help you to understand where you've been placing blame on yourself, without needing to, where you've been placing blame and stuff, where you've been seeing things perhaps through the eyes of, through the eyes of abuse, maybe that you've been self-punishing as well. And maybe there's just some things that have shed light where you now know that you're not alone. And there's probably a group even here in this forum, in this group, where you guys have had similar experiences and able to adjust to those experiences. And now you can see that it had nothing to do with you, whatever's happened in your life in the past. It had to do with the way that you've been taught to survive, the way that you've been taught to react to situations, how you've been nurtured, or whatever your nature is that has helped you to survive. And that whatever's happened in the past, whatever's happened in the past through other people towards you, either hinders you or helps you to grow, right? It helps you to push forward. And yeah, there are tons of natural remedies, aromatherapies, and things like that, but some people are not ready for all of those things just yet, and everyone's in their own levels. And some people do truly believe in that, they need their medication, or they need to have it, or it's helpful, or whatever, and they're still in that energy, and one day they won't be. They come forward and they'll be able to truly free themselves and have the tools to continue monitoring mental health or physical health or spiritual health, and continually monitoring these things. And that's my wish for all of you, is that you're free from all external influences and can live your life to the fullest, because you can manifest whatever that is, right? Because you've manifested and whatever that is, or it's because you've figured out all the things that block that manifestation from happening, in one way or another. And these are the tools. This is what we are going to work with. So again, I didn't expect this to be a video surrounding emotional healing, but it's there. Some people, I'm sorry if there's been a triggering point for some of you, or you've taken things personally that I was saying, but I was only trying to make, just trying to make different points and different situations as well for all of us. And, certainly I wasn't expecting to tell my own story. And Bobby himself talking to you guys all about medications and stuff at some point when we've done the healing thing before. And what he was on was a lot of tablets every single day. So he knows what it's like to come off of those as well. And you have to mentally be ready for it as well. There's so many things that you will come up to challenge you when you release. So I thank each and every one of you again. I'm going to be live at 12 days, so who knows what tomorrow is going to be. And I never know exactly what what time I'm coming, so I'm sorry about that. There's things happening too. Yes, and you will be free from things. It is a choice of yours, though. To be free of your ailments, problems, mental health, physical health, spiritual health, whatever it is, to be free from it, really, really will and can happen and I'm here to help you do it. So, oh, wonderful, Desiree. Fantastic. And so the feeling that you get when you can control your whole life, and you're going to be confident. If you don't have confidence in your life, then there's still some things blocking in your way. Bobby has done a big video live with me on his healing journey, but he will be here with me too at some point during these 12 days. So I appreciate once of you again. Oh, fantastic. Okay. And I know that you will all get through in your own way. And I'm here to help in whatever way that is, and however I can be. And just know that you're not alone in this journey, okay, no matter what. And we're sending, blessings and love to all of you. It's time for me to go and cook something to eat. I'm sitting here starving. No, it's on here. It's live on here. I'll try to put the link for you as well for the one that Bobby and I were talking together. Fantastic. I'm glad. I'm really glad. And I really hope that all of you can now see that there's things that you can fix. Okay. And but come back on. Okay, cool. That'd be great. So my husband's going to be here with me for one of these big talks, which will be great. And sending lots and lots of love to you all. And really appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget, courses and things are available. I'm putting them up. I'll probably put a big course on anxiety, mental health, and all of the things that we've been talking about. I probably will, the clearings and the spiritual side of stuff, I will create into a course that you can do also. Thank you, G, for all your help and support too. And I'm looking over at your name instead of over here. Thank you, G. And everyone have an awesome day. Thank you, Christelle and Candy and everybody. Thank you all for being here. Lots of love and goodbye for now. See you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.